He's the author of The Making of the President 2016, How Donald Trump Orchestrated a Revolution. And wow, what a revolution it has been. Roger, of course, served as an advisor to the 2016 presidential campaign. He served as a senior campaign aide to count them, three Republican presidents. It's great to welcome back to the Mike Gallagher Show, the one and only Roger Stone. Roger, how are you, sir?
Excellent, Mike. Thanks for asking.
Well, I haven't talked to you since the election. Congratulations. You're one of the most colorful characters I've ever seen in the world of the body politic. And I got to believe you're one of the happiest guys on the planet after Mr. Trump posted his shocking victory November the 8th.
Well, that's very kind. If there are any MVPs in the Trump victory, you sir, are one yourself.
We have fought the good fight, you know. I mean, I've never wavered from day one, and so it's been fun for me to watch as well, and our listeners who are just astounded at the breathtaking speed that he is trying to get things done. Let's start where I left off before you joined us. I'm so angry about the Puzder thing because Republicans again demonstrate how they refuse to act like Democrats and not be unified and act like we have the votes. All they had to do was support it.
I agree with that. At the same time, I must tell you, I don't know. The president is not a close friend of Mr. Puzder. I understand he was recommended by Reince Priebus and the Republican establishment as a stalwart party donor. And given some of his comments over the years, I'm not sure that he was a great nominee, and I don't really know whether perhaps the president was disserved because there's maybe a lot he didn't know about this.
And a lot of people are interested in what you have to say about the way things are playing out in this White House, and I've been reading your work. You're not a big fan of Reince Priebus, are you?
Well, I'm really not, Mike. But look, and of course, everything is now subsumed by Russia.
Right.
You know, in my new book, The Making of the President 2016, which I zoomed out right after the election, came out on the 31st.
Right.
I had to write 2,000 words a day without fail. I started before the election because I just felt it coming, and I was looking at the numbers.
Yep.
In any event, but I debunk the entire Russia thing in detail in that book as to why it's nonsense.
Right.
And to this day, even with developments, the Intelligence Committee story that published yesterday morning that names me and two others is a recycle of an identical New York Times story on the 20th, the day of the inauguration, which they were trying to stick up the new president's keister, as they said.
Right.
There's nothing new. They still have no evidence of this. They keep saying they have it, but no one has seen it. No Republican on the Senate or House Intelligence Committee has seen proof. What they have are briefings, and they have their assessments.
Right.
Assessments are words.
Right.
Like their assessments about the weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
Those
assessments.
Well,
it was actually funny to watch Matt Lauer. I saw you on the Today Show this morning, and Matt Lauer and Hallie Jackson both acted like they got you. They said, "Oh, now Roger, tell us about your contact with the Russians during the campaign." And you looked at him, you said, "There was none. It's unequivocally false. It's not true."
Yeah, no, look, just to be clear, I have no clients. I have no Russian money. I have no Russian contacts. I don't know anybody who lives in Russia on a personal basis. I don't have a Russian girlfriend. I had to stop drinking Russian vodka because you know what they'll start saying. This is ludicrous. First of all, I got into politics as an anti-communist.
Right.
I hate their system.
Right.
And the way it oppresses gay people and Christians and tribal people. These people they're worse than the Nazis. I understand that.
Now,
and
Roger,
not a nice guy, but he's a tough guy. But you know who you got to fight? Who you got to send to negotiate with a tough guy? Another tough guy. We've got one. Donald J. Trump.
We sure do. And I always love the complete dead end narrative. Oh, Russia meddled in our elections. Roger, can you help us understand how that will ever be something that could be established or corroborated? How are you going to line up the American people and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that somehow Russia impacted the outcome of the elections? The biggest joke I've heard in my life.
Well, and anybody who is more tech savvy than me, who understands this world, says that a true hacker is not detected. That's a true detector who gets in, gets their information, but leaves no fingerprints.
Right.
The Chinese are famous for those techniques.
Right.
The Russians are actually technologically behind the Chinese when it comes to hacking. Briefings I have gotten told me.
Right.
So this is an absurdity. Maxine Waters is saying that the Russians fed Trump the line, crooked Hillary. The heck they did.
Yeah, we got to go to Russia to get a line like that. No one could come up with that here in the United States. The great Roger Stone is with us here on the Mike Gallagher Show. Roger, let me just talk. Let's talk big picture about this relentless effort to stop President Trump at every turn. Once again, he finds himself, it seems, on his own, surrounded by vultures who just want to pick away at anything he's trying to do. A lot of people who support him want somebody like you who's been at this for a lot of years to answer this question. Is he going to survive this okay? Is he going to get through this? Is he going to persevere? Is he going to win?
I think he is. He most certainly has an extraordinary fight ahead of him. But, I think he's being ill-served by the people around him. And if you look at his entire business career, when he had businesses that flagged, which brought him to the financial brink of disaster, as you know, he fired that team and he got new people and he tried new approaches and new things. He's like Franklin Roosevelt in that sense. Roosevelt didn't know what he was going to do when he got there, didn't know quite how it worked. So he tried one thing and that didn't work. And then he tried something else and that didn't work. And then he found something that worked because he just went at it.
Yeah.
Trump is a problem solver. He's a gut conservative. He's a populist, really, but with gut conservative instincts, the best. And he's a fighter. I mean, the guy, he will never give up. He will fight to the last ounce of his blood. He's got ice water in his veins when it comes to defeating the other side.
Yep.
I mean, there's just no question he's the right man for the time. Now he needs to get the right advisors who support his worldview, an anti-globalist agenda, one that keeps the internet neutral, one that provides for all complete net freedom because they're coming for that, one that doesn't censor free speech in things like talk radio, for example.
Right.
I mean, this idea of Stalinistic censorship from the left because they've lost an election or because they were afraid of losing one or just to overpower us over the invincible Hillary is an outrage.
I saw you featured,
violation of our Constitution.
Roger Stone, I saw you featured in that documentary Trumped on Showtime, which, by the way, is a delightful thing to watch when you want to see libs get dealt a blow in real time and watch the night of the election and see how these guys just fell apart. It was just delicious to watch. I recommend it highly for anybody who wants to see inside politics. But they also interviewed you, and can I ask you a personal question? You have multiple, I guess, residences with all the presidential paraphernalia and in all of your homes. That's so cool. I mean,
they're neither one in my home actually. If I had these things in my home, my wife would kill me. That one is my studio in Florida where I work, and the other is a studio in New York.
Got it. Because that looks like a museum, a treasure trove.
You couldn't sleep with a Tricky Dick looking down at you like that.
Well, one of these days, I will have considered a life to be fair and wonderful if I ever get invited to see some of that memorabilia because I'd love.
If you're ever in Florida, in South Florida, we can certainly arrange.
You got it. Get Roger Stone's book, The Making of the President, 2016, How Donald Trump Orchestrated a Revolution, if you want an inside story from a guy who's been in the middle of it all for a lot of years. Roger, keep fighting the good fight. I'm glad you could spend some time with us today.
Thank you, my friend and ally.